Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Conscious Gatherers. My name is Terry Palma, and my co-host is Bev Thompson. And I think we're in our 9th week. Is that correct, Bev?
Yep. Welcome, everybody. It's episode 9 already. It seems like it has gone fast. At least to me it does. It's been exciting times. So
yeah. So a little housekeeping. It's best if someone comes on and they might have some background music. Just hit *6. That'll mute you. And then when we open up for questions later, you can hit *6 again, and that will unmute you. Bev, tell the listening audience a little bit about you. We haven't done that in several weeks, so let's get a little bit of your background, please.
All right. Thank you, Terry. I have been in the metaphysical arena for quite a few years. Started in the 80s. I was becoming much more awake, and a few things happened before that. But I am an ordained minister. I do energy work, work on the body. I do it in person, and I have done it through the telephone lines too. That's interesting. And then I also do what's termed readings or intuitive counseling, I prefer to call it. I'm also the author of 3 books. It's a series called A Mystery of the Universes. First book is that name. Second book is Mystery of the Universes, Book 2. Third one, Mystery of the Universes, Book 3. All 3 of these books are available on your online bookstores, or if you want a signed copy, I do have some here, and you can get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to sign a copy or whatever you want for you. The 3 books are also available on Kindle, Amazon Kindle, so it's another way that you can take them with you without having the physical book. But I personally prefer the physical books. I'm always referring to them. Mine are getting a little look rather used, but that's okay. I have more, and I make notes in mine, and they're all marked up. So they've really helped me navigate my experiences and understanding of who I am. So Terry, tell me about yourself.
Let's see here. Well, I've been in metaphysics for as long as you have, or longer, since I'm a little older. I got interested through my mom when I was in my early 20s. I actually did when I graduated from UCLA and went on to graduate school, I was in counseling, psychology and counseling and guidance. And so my master's thesis was using an astrological chart for therapeutic, as a tool for therapeutic of where to go in therapy. So we did a blind study where we didn't know who the kids were. They were all in special ed. All we knew is their sex and their birth information. And we had a panel of about 5 astrologers, including myself. And we delineated their charts, gave the strengths and weaknesses of the children, what we thought was best to help them where their circumstances were. And we gave that information to their existing therapists and their teachers. The therapists were all blown away that we could pinpoint who we were talking about, didn't even know who they were. Of course, the teachers were boo-ha-hum. It was in Orange County, a very conservative population that we were in doing that. So that was kind of fun and interesting. I went on later and to get, with that program, 3 master's degrees, educational psychology, and counseling and guidance. In the early 70s, I was interested in studies in consciousness, and I became a master hypnotist and later became a licensed hypnotherapist. And that's about it, I guess. You know, I met Bev and her husband Rick many moons ago and was enthralled with what they were doing, meeting weekly. And we just kind of thought we'd put this thing together. We've been planning it for a while, and it came together about 10 or 12 weeks ago. We started doing this. So, Bev, that's my case. I'm going to turn it back over to you to see what our topic of the evening is.
You don't even know what that is yet, but you will. All right, I'm going to start out with saying we are definitely going through a major shift. On a global level, and I did hear this through somebody named David, and he had mentioned this is actually the cosmic dark night of the soul, and on a global level. So it's a way of looking at it, and if you to understand what the dark night of the soul, I went through it. It's probably 2.5 years ago. And even though I've written the books and have the knowledge, I've talked and all of that, and then all of a sudden I started doubting myself. And it really, I'd have to say it wasn't fun, but I learned a lot. And after a while I thought, wait a minute, I'm done with this. I'm letting go of this. Why am I doing this to myself? All those sort of things that was going through my mind, and I've grown since to understand who and what I am. And that's, very powerful being, as we all are. So this whole major shift that we're going through can be our collective dark night of the soul. And each of us can do that individually. And if you are going through those times, which, I am too, even though it's not what I experienced 2.5 years ago, but you start questioning everything. So one thing that we have talked, at least in the metaphysical field, that has really gone out into the mainstream is living in the moment. And how many times have we've heard that? Just live in the moment. The past is past. The future hasn't happened yet, so enjoy the now. So this is really forcing us to go inside. This whole virus episode is causing us to go inside and say, okay, what changes am I going to make in my life? And even though I'm living in the moment, but all of a sudden you start looking at what no longer serves me. It's like, I'm done with that. I'm done with those feelings. Whatever it may be. Now, back in the days when I used to make big plans for my work and money, all of that sort of thing that I used to do, occasionally I'll still make a plan. However, be open to any changes that are going on, because you can see that things are changing daily or hourly, whatever, every minute. So just be open to what is being revealed in you and what is being revealed in the world. So this quarantine that many are going through is really a perfect opportunity to go within and to rebuild our energy and help anchor the light on this earth. All right. Do you have any comments before I go on?
No, continue, please.
Okay. One thing is we had talked about actually quite a few of our episodes, and that's relieving anxiety. And I mentioned last week I'd wake up and feel anxious, and it's like, what is this? And even though when I come to, it takes me a while to get into this, what I term the Beths body, or into this world. And but then I start feeling this anxiety, and I thought, okay, what is this? Is this my own, possibly, or is this what I'm tuning into the collective consciousness, into the fields around the earth? And a lot of it's connecting with the fields that around the earth that's being projected by everybody or a lot of people. And so you start feeling this, and then you start working with this field to calm it and send your light. If those of you that are really feeling it intensely, one thing you can do is get out in nature, take a walk, sit on a rock, feel the earth, or sit on the grass, or whatever it may be, and give gratitude. Just look at every little blade of grass, a leaf, look at the veins in a rock, whatever it may be, and it's absolutely amazing if we start looking at nature. And that helps us relieve any anxiety that we're going through. The other thing is I wanted to get into this last week I mentioned instead of saying I want. And Terry, you had talked about conscious language. So I do want you to continue on that in that vein, if you would. But first thing I want to say is be open and honest with yourself and others. This is not a time to hide, and be totally honest. And many times we think we are being honest, and then we catch ourselves and go, "Whoa, I haven't been honest with myself." And there's no right or wrong. It's really opening ourselves more fully and getting into that heart self. So that's my basic thing I wanted to talk about tonight. So continue on. Terry?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I think it's important, too, that we revisit some truths that I hold. Doesn't necessarily mean they're truths for you, but I find them to be true for me. That we need to take 100% responsibility for what is going on in our world at all times, and that no one has caused anything to happen other than yourself. And it's a lot easier to let dramas go and face things if you take that as a belief system. So if you're feeling anxious, as Bev said, go within and ask why. Because you're causing it, and the answer is going to be there to how to relieve it. Because if you've caused it, if you're responsible for it, then there's an easy way to relieve it. I use Ho'oponopono, and if I feel any kind of negative energy or something against somebody or anxious or fearful or whatever it might be, I simply go within and ask. And when I say go within, you don't have to go into a meditative state. Simply go and say, whatever in me is causing whatever this is to happen, for me to experience it, I'm sorry, please forgive me, release it, thank you, I love you. And what you're doing is you're talking to your higher self, and you're talking to your unconscious self, who's bringing up these tapes for you to deal with them, and you're clearing them away and asking the unconscious to clear it up to the higher conscious, which will clear it through divinity. Because remember, we are divine, and we're part of divine. But divine has nothing to do in this world that we're experiencing now. No responsibility whatsoever. That's where the free will came in when we were created. We were created in the likeness of the Creator, and that's love and forgiveness. And anything other than that, the Creator's not involved with. Everything else we created. So that's what helps and keeps me kind of focused and, non-dramatic. I don't try and listen to the news. I try and, follow the good guidelines that we should be following, only because I'm trying to be considerate of others. So that's how I'm dealing with what's going on. And I think it's very simple to do. It's a process that everybody could do. But you have to assume 100% responsibility for everything in your world that you experience, from what you see, what you feel, and what you think. And then this process, you'll be amazed of how it clears things out, and those issues that you were having aren't there anymore. And then, Beverly, to talk about the word want, the unconscious, subconscious, whatever term you want to use for that, takes that literally and keeps it from you. All right? I want. Well, if you want means you don't have, and it's not going to give to you. I choose. I am. Those are much stronger, definitive words, and anything that follows those are going to manifest. Just like I want, the subconscious is going to keep that away from you because you're desiring it. Even I desire keeps it away from you because the unconscious takes it literal. that means you don't have. So that it keeps it away from you. Does that make sense, Bev?
Sure does. It sure does. And again, you can feel the difference when you say that. I am, or I choose. I want. And
I was trying to think all day, and there I go try. But I thought of, I was trying. There was somebody that I wanted to share this with. I met someone on a webinar this weekend, and they have a fitness program. Of course, now they're indoors and stuff. And the guy's older. He's like me, 70 years old, in really great shape, but much better shape than I am. And so a thought came to me. I was going to share with him and his wife, because they run this program, of Jack LaLanne. And then when I got down in the morning for my meditation, I could not remember that name. And so I started saying, I choose to remember, I choose to remember. And then I hadn't thought about it again until we sat down and you were talking, Bev, and I was sitting here going, and all of a sudden Jack LaLanne popped into my head. It just popped right. I said, there it is. See, you don't have to worry about it. If I choose to, it will happen. It will manifest. Who knows how long? Usually it doesn't take that long for me, but it took that long today. But now I wrote it down so I won't lose it again. I won't have to choose to remember it again. And I can pass this on and share my ideas of what I think we could do for this gentleman and his wife that are having this program, and what my idea for him to do. So anyway, language is very, very strong, very strong.
Well, you allowed it to come into your consciousness as I was speaking. It's like when you relax, then things come to you.
Well, the process was I consciously asked my unconscious to let it come to consciousness. And then I didn't worry about it. That's the process. Because remember, the unconscious knows 40 million bits of information a second, and the conscious knows about 40 bits a second. So who's in control? We think we're in control. We think we're conscious beings, but we're really unconscious beings living in this, I call artificial intelligence. But so when I choose to recall something, I never attempt to do it consciously. I go to my unconscious that knows it all.
Right. When you say, I call it my Bev body. I use that term a lot.
I've heard that.
To be more specific.
Let me deal with that for 1 second, okay, Bev?
Go right ahead.
We are not our bodies. So I never attach anything to my body if I can remember or can help. Our bodies are a vehicle that makes it easy for us to communicate with other non-bodies. We are conscious agents here in this artificial intelligent world that we created, and it makes it easy to interact because we picked an avatar. Our body is our avatar. Okay, so I choose not to, I recognize it as an avatar and don't put much weight into it, even though I'm very heavy. That was a little joke. Well.
Okay.
Oh, Terry did a funny.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, that's another way of looking at it. I felt our bodies are actually just a part of our way to experience in the material dimension. It's another way I look at it. So it is us, but it is it's part of our projection, of our conscious projection into a body, so we can understand whatever we want to experience. Make sense?
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. I don't disagree with that.
Good.
I just don't reference my body when I'm attempting to do something because it has no control. My mind controls my body. My body does not control my mind. Okay.
Well, one thing I do is I'll ask if something is good for this body, be it a vitamin or a mineral. It's like muscle testing or dowsing. So I do that quite a bit, especially with supplements and that sort of thing. Or if I'm not sure about something, I'll ask, and then I always get an answer. But I do say for this physical Bev body, and because that's what I'm asking about, for this physical body to stay healthy and get the nutrients that it needs to function fully.
That makes sense, and it's smart. It's just like you wouldn't walk. The body's important while we're experiencing this what we're experiencing here in this dimension, and you wouldn't want to run in front of a running on train because you wouldn't be in this dimension any longer. So the same thing is, it's very helpful to ask, is this going to be harmful to my body, or is this good to my body? And yes, you're going to get the answer. The subconscious or unconscious knows, and you're going to get that answer, and it's smart to do that. I'm not saying the body's not important for our existence, for our experience here. If we want to stay in this artificial experience, that's what we've created, because you will leave quickly if your body's not up to par and doing what it was you created it for. But yeah, so that perfectly makes sense, and I do that too. I probably don't do it as much as you do, but and you look better than I do, so now we know why.
Well, I'm not sure about that one. All right. You want to open up the lines for any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So at this time, you can hit *6 if you had done it before to unmute you. I know we have one or two people on, and most of our audience comes in. Bev sends out a link to go and listen to this. So next week, Bev and I are having discussions, and we might have a special treat for you next week. But we're not going to pop it what it is, but you might want to tune in next week and see what we have in store. And it's different than the 9 we've done so far. So the lines are open. If anybody has a question for Bev or myself, now's the time to speak up.
Hey, Terry. Hey, Bev. This is Lee. How are you?
Good, thank you. Glad you're welcome here, Lee.
Well, good, thank you. You know, I could talk for a long time, but I'm going to be very brief and very quick. When you talk to a group, whether it's 2 people or 1,000, you consider it a success if you affect one person. You guys need to know you're doing a good thing by having this podcast. And I met Beverly 2 years ago, roughly, and I think I'm ready to schedule some formal sit-down time with her. And I would like to know if you're still doing some of your hypnosis work.
Yes, I am. I do that by appointment. And again, those numbers, if you want to set an appointment with Beverly and or myself, you would simply call 864-999-3008, and then just leave who you want to talk to and your name and number, and we'll get back to you shortly on that.
Good. I'm going to get with you on some of that work too.
Yeah, so, we'd love to.
We don't have enough time to keep talking, but thank you for what you're doing.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for being a listener.
Thank you, Lee.
Sure, thank you. And I'm one of your heavy avatars too.
You guys are big boys.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Bev's trying to push me to Zoom, and I go, well, then I have to wear clothes, Bev, and comb my hair and do all that. People will see me.
That's right.
And
that's right.
We're having fun.
All right.
Yeah,
well, our format is to be determined, so we may change it. We'll see. All right. Do we have any other questions?
All right. Well, we appreciate all of you who are listeners. I appreciate you, Bev, for setting time aside every week to do this. I enjoy it. I know you enjoy it. And we've already given out the number if you want to meet with us and individually. And that could be over the phone, in person. Right now, it'd probably be over the phone or on a Zoom. Anything that Bev does and I do, we can do via Zoom because we'd be seeing you. That's probably, until we get further notice, that's probably the what I want to say, the mature thing to do, and to keep everybody, even though I'm not concerned about it and I know that we're protected and what we're doing, I want to follow and make everybody feel comfortable. So we want to thank everybody. Until next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we wish you all to be safe and healthy and be happy. You know, what we did just to share before we go off the air. 2 days ago was my birthday, so my family spread all over the world. I got family in Amsterdam and Denver and California and here. So we all got on a Zoom and had a birthday party on Zoom. And then this coming Saturday, because everybody's still stuck, we're having a talent show on Zoom. Everybody's got to come and a family talent show and do some kind of talent. So be creative out there. Have fun. Do something you normally wouldn't do. And it's kind of, I'm enjoying it, All right. Anybody else? All right, great.
I love it. I love the innovation, and it seems like a lot of people are happier just because they're not so stressed from having to go here, having to go there, to work, dealing with other people, all of that. And it's, this is bringing people together in so many ways. It's really wonderful to see.
Yeah, my wife she's already done 2 Zoom Pilates classes this week for all her clients. So I think she had 15 or 16 that were on today. So she's not stopping. Her clients are still getting her. She's still doing the classes. And, I said, they're going to love it. And they are, It's different, but they're not losing out. So, and they're actually benefiting because she's not charging for it.
They benefit, not so much for her, but we're still benefiting just for helping others and sharing. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. It's really, really fun to see this, even though at times I say, what's happening? I can't believe this is happening. And then I'll get out of that and say, okay, what am I going to do about it? So,
all right. Well, thank you all. Beth, thank you. We'll see you next week. Lee, thank you. And all of our listeners, thank you all. Be safe. Be careful until next week. See you all.
Good night.
Thank you.